what's going on, good people? Here on another conversation with Pops. Sitting here with Pops himself, Salamander the Great. You know what I mean? And we also got Tribe here visiting us one more time, Mr. Rob. And today we got an interesting conversation that we're gonna have. At least I think it should be interesting. Here in recent years, it appears, at least to me, and I want to say to several others, because I've seen others complain about it, that the essence of what is manhood itself seems to be under attack. One, in order to, I guess, promote other lifestyles, it's like, it seems like to be a man has to be wrong in order for other lifestyles to coexist. Then manhood itself has to be wrong. I ain't just talking about like feminist movements and stuff like that, because there's multiple movements out there that it seems like they're all aimed and targeted at men and manhood. And I just want to get the panels uh open, or I mean, get y'all opinions on, one, does it seem like manhood is under attack to you? And if so, maybe some of your perspectives on it. And if not, if you think that maybe myself and others who have made similar comments are coming out of left field with this, then also we would like that, what I'm saying, perspective as well and explanation. So with that said, y'all know I don't want to get too long winded, especially just opening up the topic. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let this free fall for whoever wants to jump in here and let us know, what you think about this topic and what's on your mind.
Well, one thing I just want to start off by saying is this: is that yes, it is under a change. Attack? I don't know, but it definitely has been under a change for I'm going to say 2,000 years. And the reason I say that is this: is that I am one of them that believes that things evolve, and upon things evolving, old ways aren't needed no longer. All right. So let me ask you: our classic definition of manhood is gatherer, protector, provider. Them three things have evolved to where he's not the only one that can provide that no longer. So the roles are evolving and transitioning together. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. But the classic sense of it has definitely changed and is currently changing even more. And I think it's just a natural progression of society at this point myself. Um, you know, with just like with anything to me, things change. It's just a matter of at what point does the change become too much for that individual.
Okay.
Because things have changed to the point to where we've all benefited from it and we've all liked it, but it's all gone to a point to where we don't agree no longer possible. But that don't make it wrong or right. And that's one of the what are we evolving to? What where are we going with this? You know, that's a question. That's a big question.
So to sum up your perspective so far is you don't necessarily agree that it's a bad thing to the point where manhood is being attacked, but you do see that there's evolve is evolving, or you're seeing that there's change in what is going to be accepted as man.
Correct.
And okay, so with that said, correct. We'll definitely get back to you here in just a moment, pops. Uh, one of our other two gentlemen in the panel got anything to put in on the initial opening
Yes,
of this topic?
I honestly think I do think manhood is under attack, but I don't think it's just manhood. I think it's everyone, manhood, womanhood, everything is being under attack. As we see now, now they're not even trying to call women women. Instead of trying to call them, uh, don't quote me to say, but it's something where they could produce pregnancy, like babies and stuff. But I think it's just everyone under attack. Like they try. Eventually, I
person.
think it's gonna be no identification of being a male or a female. It's just you who you are. Everything is like, I think there's nothing wrong. Uh, like me personally, as you see, I got hair. I think there's nothing wrong with a man having hair. There, I think there's nothing wrong about that. I don't like where you gotta be over, like a man gotta be overly manly to be a man and stuff. Like I don't necessarily agree with that. Like like it's feminine to keep up with your appearance as a man and stuff. I don't agree with that at all. It's like I have heard some cases like that where people think it's feminine and stuff. I disagree with that and stuff. Uh
Salamander, can I make a point to you real quick? At
yes.
one time, back in the
Hold,
day,
hold,
when I was younger,
hold
I
your
used to
point,
wear
Pop.
my hair like yours.
Hey, Pops, hold your point. I'm sorry. Hold your point. Hold your point. So we gotta move through the rest of this panel real quick. Salamander, go ahead and finish up what you're saying, Pops. You can come back to the hair in a moment.
But like a man, like keeping up with his appearance, like getting, making sure his nails clean, stuff like that. I don't think nothing is feminine about that. Uh, Now like overly, like I think when we talk about, like especially nowadays, it's 2023. Sexuality is like a big huge thing right now. I think I should be me being man. I should be I'm comfortable in my sexuality enough for me to be I could be around people who's attracted to other men, and I ain't gotta be like, oh no, I ain't gonna be around them. Like, nah, like that's cool. Like, ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm like a same thing. Like I could be a man and I could order me a sex on the beach drink, and I ain't gotta drink the hard shit. I ain't gotta drink Hennessy and shit like that all the time. Like that's what I mean. Like
Okay.
nowadays they try to make it sound like you have to do everything men. Like that ain't the case and shit. I think they just
Let
try to make it overly manly, and then
Oh,
it's
I'm
kind of
sorry, man. I
like
was over here online. I
I
didn't know
don't
you was
know.
coming.
so the so to summarize what you're saying is that you do or you do feel like it's under attack a little bit, but your definition of manhood is not necessarily what some individuals' definitions of manhood would be when they're talking the ultra rugged, super tough. You don't see
Yeah,
nothing wrong with the metrosexual male.
like I was
think that's
watching Birdie.
I
I
think
was
that's
watching
I think that's what they used to call it back in the day. The metrosexual male, the male who was
yeah.
into all the
I
fashions and
I
that.
was
Uh,
watching the Bernie Mac
let me.
show a while ago, and it was the little nephew Jordan. Bernie, he was basically getting on him, yelling at him like, "I'm trying to make you a man," and he was like, "Why everything you like hurts and shit?" Like, so I'm like stuff like that. Like like you don't it don't have to be like that for like I like all like, that's just with me. Maybe
I
because
get.
I was a mama's boy growing up, but that's just how I feel. Like I think your
I,
actions speak louder than everything too. Like I can be I could take care of my appearance and do this and do that, and also be the breadwinner in the home and paying all the bills and stuff too. Like they don't make me less of a man because I have hair or so forth and so forth.
and I definitely get what you're saying. Everyone's interpretation of manhood can vary a little different, but I think that there's still standard of manhood in one way or another, and that's something I might
who's
want
who
to.
who who's
And hold
standard?
on,
Who's standard?
I understand. That's why I said that's something I might want to get into a little later. But first, let's go down to Rob here, and I want to see if you have any perspective or any opinion on the topic.
Between the two. I had I was already set to agree with Pops for a minute, and then I listened to Salamander, and I can understand what he's saying as well. So I'm kind of torn between the two. Again, is it under attack? Not necessarily under attack, but there is, and that's basically right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? Good or evil, you're gonna have to accept it. It is what it is. It's already started. It's in motion. But that's all I can. I can't. My opinion lies somewhere between both of theirs, actually. So
Okay. Okay.
I just want to say, one good example, Mumbles, is like what Salamander was saying. Okay, that was his boundaries. Okay, your boundaries might be something else. My boundaries might be something else. The problem is that nobody can agree on one boundary. Okay, if you got one boundary, then you have a scale to grade how far away from what's perceived as normal people are getting, and you put in laws and stuff to reel that stuff back. So with things evolving, because we all remember the back, especially back when we was younger, a big thing was a man shouldn't be afraid to cry. Cause we was men don't cry, we don't cry. Shit, we seen our whole family get wiped out. We don't cry. You know what I'm saying? But that was a big thing when we was coming up. Men getting in more in touch with their emotions and things like that. Because maybe that stern way of looking at life isn't needed no more. I mean, hell, look at it. Life is a whole lot softer, and I mean softer, than it was 50 years ago, let alone 100, 200 years ago. you know so therefore the qualities of what we perceived as in manhood that was produced from it are outdated at this point. When the last time me and y'all had to go out here and dig a ditch and fend for some food and bring it home?
I just
Let me ask another question on the topic. Then, um, is masculinity important to manhood?
Yes.
It used to be.
I would say it is important.
Hold on, I like that. I got a one word answer from both of you. I want to get a one word answer from Rob real quick.
I can't get a one word answer. My what I would say would be yeah, nah, yeah, it would have to be by definition it would have to be a part of manhood.
Yeah. I was gonna say because to be a man, you still
Well,
have to have some man.
not necessarily just a part of manhood. I'm asking more specifically: is it important?
Is it would have to be it would be a defining it would be
Is it
it's
important?
in order
Is it important to keep associated? Is it important to keep associated with manhood?
yes.
Maybe that might be the question I'm trying to get to.
Is it appropriately associated? For the moment, it is. Yes.
Is it important, like, to continue having men? Because you know, to continue having men in the world, I would assume that masculinity would be important. If masculinity is an important characteristic or trait of manhood itself.
It is because masculinity, some of the traits that come with masculinity is leadership, strength, courage, independence. So
And by
yeah,
definition, by our society's definition of what manhood is, all of those things are required. requirements.
So masculinity is definitely going to be important. Okay.
Yeah, because to
Uh,
me, I don't think now. I don't think a woman want to be with a man that she can run up over him and stuff. Because therefore, there should be no reason why you in a relationship, or even
well, if we
because
we
there's
don't
still
want
got
to,
to
we
be
don't
some
want.
type of dominance.
I don't know if we want to drift too deep
That's
into
what it is.
relationships on this topic because each its
I
own.
feel like I feel like
Everybody got their
masculinity
own
is
little
important
thing
in a
that they
relationship.
found out there, and some there's some women. Well, I'm not gonna get into relationship. Everybody there's too many variables when it comes to relationships that carry us way off the topic.
I mean,
Um,
but that is the story that we're talking about is the masculinity within relationships, and then the masculinity amongst what's how society perceives you. It's all the same conversation. At what point is masculinity considered toxic? You know,
I don't know if I completely agree with this that term of toxic masculinity and all that. So, I mean, because and again that goes back to my original top or my original point where I one of the ways where I feel like manhood is under attack because it's like it's evil to be a man or it's evil to even think about a man in today's
well,
world
well,
in
isn't
in a lot of environments.
let me ask you this, Mumbles. All right, masculinity means dominance. It means winning. It means defeating. It means taking over. It means making submit to. Okay, correct?
I think it means closer to what Salamander already explained when he read it
To-
off. You want to go
that
ahead and read it off again?
toxic masculinity is a dominant form of masculinity
Go
with
go
men do dominance,
go back
violence,
to masculinity
control,
first
to control
for
their
me.
presence, their area. Now,
Correct.
masculinity comes with damn, what I say? It
Truth,
comes with
just
strength, courage, independence, leadership.
Okay.
One
Okay.
more one more time for for those of us who aren't listening in full.
Masculinity. The traits of masculinity comes with strength, courage, independence, and leadership.
Okay. What you just done, Salamander, is this. You ready?
Yeah.
You just put the sugarcoat version out there. What I said: dominance, accomplishment, submit to, winning. It's the same thing.
I
All right.
mean,
So
there's a difference between, I think with masculine, there's a difference between masculine and then toxic masculine.
okay,
What?
explain the difference to me. Explain to me now because I wasn't listening the first time because I was caught up in my own conversation. I wanted to hear that first part again. But explain to me again what you were
Right.
finding as
So
far as what toxic masculinity is.
toxic masculinity is a dominant form where you use your dominance, uh, and it could go to, and you use your dominance in any way, which it could resort to violence, so forth to get your way across. You being a man, even though it's leadership, toxic masculinity, you not trying to take advice from anybody else.
That's
You,
not
you,
Why
toxic,
would you?
that's
I
Why
think,
would you? Why would you? If you're a winner,
but if you're a man, you should be man enough to take to know
I'm a,
where your
I,
mistakes
I'm
are and
a,
then correct them.
I'm a
And be
winning
able to.
man. I don't make none.
Everybody make mistakes.
Loser.
God made no perfect man,
Never said I was,
but you say
but
you
I'm a
make no
winner.
mistakes.
I'm a,
Everybody make
I'm a.
mistakes.
If I'm a winner, why would a winner listen to someone who's a loser?
It's not necessary. Got to listen to somebody below you. I'm just saying, like it could be just anybody. It could be
Oh, I
somebody
agree.
above your level or on the same level as you. You not taking anybody else's opinion can result. That's like toxic masculinity because you think your
Right.
way is always
what?
right, which
Yeah,
Why?
necessarily not true.
because you said leadership also is a part of masculinity, correct?
Yeah, but you can lead
So,
someone and also observe, like listen to the people you leading that may have suggestions and stuff too, and apply it.
but
It
who
And
ain't
makes
what's
necessarily gotta be my
who
way or the highway.
who makes the decision?
At the end of the day, you make the decision, but you can still
You
take
damn right.
people opinions and
Your,
stuff
I
and
would
then
take
make the
your
decision.
I would right. I would take
That's
your
what I'm saying.
opinions.
But if
Right.
you
The
just
leader
automatically like,
takes
no, no,
the
no, no,
leader.
no, I'm not
No,
listening,
no,
that's toxic.
no, no. You are right. You take the
hold on,
opinions
slow down,
and you
slow
make
down.
the decision.
slow down, gentlemen, real quick, real quick. Toxic masculinity, is it a real thing or no?
Yeah,
Yes or no?
yeah.
No,
Pop,
no.
Oh,
Rob,
I've never
Rob.
heard of it.
Now,
I've never.
you might not watch enough news and stuff because they always talking about it, but not
Like,
hilarious.
like
Um,
toxic masculinity, like a prime example, these DV cases where
hold on,
people
real
move
quick.
on and then they
Hold on,
end up
real
going
quick.
back killing the girl. Shit, that's the definition
Hold
of
on,
I
no, 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 no. Say that again. Say that again.
like these cases where you watch the news and it's like, oh, the girl and the boy broke up and then the girl moved on. He got jealous and went back and killed her, some shit like that. If
That's
it's
not.
over, it's
No,
over.
That's
Yeah,
not.
it's ridiculous.
no.
You
That's
trying
not.
to
No,
exert,
no.
you trying
Stop,
to
stop,
exert your
stop.
dominance on
That is
trying to make
not.
her your
That
property.
is not toxic, man. That is not
What is that?
toxic
that's a
masculinity.
crazy. That's a
That is
crazy
called
sob.
stalking. That is called killing, murder. We have terms for these. There's law.
Yeah,
We
but
already have terms
you
for this
trying to
stuff.
make somebody your
No, no, no,
property.
no,
That's
no, no.
still
Because
that. Like you trying to
here's my
observe your dominance over that person.
here's my problem with making up stuff. Okay, we already making up. Look, toxic masculinity. Now you're just making up terms. So every time a man gets angry and hurts a woman, instead of him being an abusive male, which we
He's
know is out there, now it's toxic masculinity. It's something that we can blanket and throw over all men.
no,
Every time a man does something that we don't
no.
like, it's toxic masculinity.
What was the
No,
definition outside of
we
toxic
don't have to
masculinity?
add words that already have definitions.
It would
That don't make
the
sense.
definition of toxic masculinity I read is that when a man feel like he have to observe his dominance rather than result into violence. So if you have a
And what is
history of
that?
doing that
And what
with
is
your
that?
significant other, that's toxic masculinity.
No, that's domestic violence.
It's the same thing.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Because what I hear on the media, toxic masculinity, is every time they want to shame a male into something that he's, especially with white men, they the big target of it right now. But it's all men. But it's every time a man is doing something or saying something that the woke mob don't like, it's toxic masculinity.
No, I
Look,
would say
look,
that's more
look,
when you said people making up words and all that. I would put that under that because it's another word. It was somebody on the news on guy on Fox News, and they kept using the word woke and trying to twist our word and make it into a negative thing. And then when she was asked,
no,
"What's
no,
the
no,
definition
I'm
of
not
woke?"
gonna let you do that.
She
I'm not
couldn't
gonna let
explain
you
it.
do that
It's the same
because
thing. They
because
trying
I've
to
had
take this and put a
yes,
negative light to it
yes,
towards more of our people. But
yeah,
that's not the real
but
definition of toxic
that
masculinity.
but we're not gonna sit there and blame that on Fox News and white. It wasn't the Republicans who stole woke from black folks. All right,
It's
it's the
it,
Democrats running
it don't
around here and
matter.
the LGBT running around here talking about woke. Ever since 2004, 2005, when Negroes started coming out really
Excuse
talking
me.
about
Excuse me.
woke,
Excuse me.
It
Mumbles.
don't
Excuse
matter
me.
about
Mumbles.
Democrats and
I'm
Mumbles.
talking.
Republicans.
Start a minute.
It's
Hold on, y'all.
like
Hold on, y'all two. Can I? I just want to take a little pause for a second. You know what? I'm sitting here looking at my truck, man. That bitch look good. Okay, go ahead.
we, we politic
It's,
polit,
it's
political parties aside.
toxic masculinity. When you look at this definition, you tell me this is not a made up definition for something that don't already exist. There is nothing specific about these words that they're putting together.
The reason I did that break with y'all because y'all are arguing the same thing. The problem is that that word has now been used to describe violence, and it takes the violence of supposedly to be masculine as the reason for that
But it's
violence.
but it's
So wait a
being
minute,
used.
wait a
It's
minute,
being
hold on, hold
used.
on,
Hold
hold
on.
on.
This is why I say we're under manhood is under because it's being used as a way to attack men in their natural behaviors. For
Correct.
example, for example, it is the toxic masculinity thing or a homophobic thing or whatever because I'm a man in my manhood. I find it nasty to see other men performing or being sexual. I don't find other men sexual. Okay, in any term. in any form. That's just the way it is. Men
Okay.
are nasty to me, and myself included. I look at
Okay.
myself and there's things that I understand as a man that is nowhere near when I'm looking at a woman.
Okay.
There's nothing in my mind that wants me to be able to look at and see a man in the way that I see a woman. However, because that is embedded in my masculinity and my manhood, that's toxic and it's homophobic. That doesn't. It's like
I,
we forget what it's like to be a man. Like you haven't you like you ain't never been a man and been grossed out seriously by some stuff, and now you're supposed to be like, oh, what?
no.
I don't,
Let,
So I think the thing that make it homophobic if someone continuously speaking on it if they see it. Now me, I agree with you. I don't look at a man that's that same way or the same way I look at a woman. But my thing is whatever floats your boat. They ain't none of my business. I don't care. But I think what makes it homophobic if you see like you in the public, you see two men kissing, and you got to speak on it like, "Ooh, why y'all doing that?" I think that's what make it homophobic, and then that's what the toxic shit comes from.
but people don't really do that no more. So if I mean that goes back to the whole thing that I be saying about these fake arguments coming by these fake oppressed people. Like
But we all know that's the media work of them trying to take words and twist it and put it into the negative light.
can I ask you two a
They've been
question?
doing this.
What was the two most dominant entities in America upon its conception? That there's been a steady fight against its oppression since day one. The Protestant white
Negroes,
male. The Protestant white male.
they gonna say
It's been a,
Negroes.
there's been no. All the
Okay.
Negroes and all the Negroes and all the women's and all of the diversities have been up against one entity,
You
the
said the
Protestant white
conception of you said the
of
conception
this country,
of this
of this
country.
country. Right.
And this country, in order for this
Yeah.
country to exist, it had to take it from the Negro. Therefore, the
It don't,
number
no,
one
no,
oppressor is going to be
no,
the Negro.
no.
Period.
The number one oppressed
Period.
right now is the one who did all the taking. That's who everybody. That's why I said you got look at it. The masculinity the ration going down is the same thing as the white power situation. One's racism and one is sexism. The women had to get their rights because they was oppressed probably as bad or worse as we were. Hell, the white man didn't give a damn about a white woman. We know that. You know, she been getting her ass whooped for thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? Killed everything else. So the fight has been against that one entity that has been the dominant person here since day one.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that one, but I'm with
Yeah, well, you don't have to.
you. I mean,
Who is the fight against? The fight is against who? White
like I
society,
said,
correct?
like I said, I
Wait a
don't
minute, no, hold on.
I
The,
don't agree with that because I am not under the impression or the falsehood that it's only white folks that are the enemy to the American Negro when we got just as many dark skinned black Africans and motherfucking Europeans coming over here that did the same thing. They were the number one colonizer. Check the history books and look what those swarthy motherfuckers were coming over here doing all the stuff and took the land for real before they before they put it all together in Pennsylvania and stole it from. Never mind. Look, we're off topic. I'm not going to go there too far, but I'm just saying that look, we're going to have to agree to disagree because I don't believe that narrative. I don't agree with that narrative. I know there's too many niggas here that are traitors to Negroes too. Period.
they're
It
not
ain't just a
traitors.
white. It's not a white. It's
They
not a
was
white black thing. If they help take this land, they traitors. It's not a white black thing. Period.
they didn't help take it. They conquered it. There's a difference.
No, they took it. Took it.
They
When you do
conquered it.
when you take it through paper, genocide, not war, you took it. It
You
was
gave
not
it
done
to me.
through war.
You
Okay?
gave it to me.
It was through deception. We didn't have internet back then. So when the military showed up and said, hey, we made such and such the chief of your tribe and he sold us this land, you got to go. There was no way to verify and check that. We was just sitting here, one family against the military. You see what I'm saying? Over and over and over again on all these different farmlands, it kept happening various just like that. The military show up, put you off your land. The Negroes didn't have. Never mind. Never mind. Look, masculinity. We'll stay on masculinity.
It's all the same. That
But
same
again,
masculinity we
again,
talking about.
I just disagree with your premises about the number one hated or against it. Look, that's understand we want to keep it all about race. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, the stuff that's happening on this land is a lot deeper than just white and black. It's a lot deeper than just race. And we have to understand what these bloodlines are really meaning, where these families are really going back to, where these families really come from, and what really happened in the 1800s.
Oh
Because
yeah.
all that's very, very relevant.
I still wonder why. You never see any kind of documentaries or nothing on black Christocracy. I know they're here. You ain't gonna tell me that they're not.
Exactly. So,
You know.
you know, it's all good. But again, like I said, back on the masculinity thing, man. I just want to hit it home with, what I'm saying, repeating that I don't think it's a good thing to take masculinity out of manhood. More importantly, out of boyhood. Okay, when you are raising these little boys to become men, they need that masculinity. They need to understand. They need to understand how to check those emotions and stuff like that. Like, how are we going to expect these boys to grow up and be good leaders and men of society and being upright and not emotional? Not all. If they all running around thinking like women and stuff, and they all emotional and look at the streets. You niggas. Never mind. I mean, look,
But that kind of
we
goes
can't
back
take
to
we can't take masculinity out of manhood. Just like Joe Brown said, man, he protecting womanhood and promoting manhood. Man, look, it's simple.
This is true.
that.
You know.
That kind of goes back to our conversation a few months ago where we was talking about uh like the attack on the black man. How they were just putting us in jail, breaking up the families, and that's the reason why these kids is getting raised by their mothers and having that female mentality, so forth and so forth. So yes, we are men. Masculinity is under attack, if you put it that way too, when it comes to our kids.
Yeah. The only thing that sucks is that we done it to ourselves. We're the ones that allowed that whole concept to become our culture, and we dove all the way in and head first. I was a part of it. Where I could, the whole breakdancing thing was a start. That it made the hood famous. It made the hood something that everybody wanted to be. You know what I'm
I,
saying?
wa-
And once that started getting deep into the mentality of our community, it has really affected us in a not so positive way.
I was watching this. I was watching this little video clip thing. It came across when I was scrolling up Twitter and whatever. But I should have clipped it. I don't know why I didn't. I didn't. But anyway, this woman was like in tears. It was a white woman. It was one of those Karen videos or whatever. But she was like almost in tears at a little store, whatever. It looked like it was like a dollar store or something. Over a man telling his boy to stop crying it sounded like the boy wanted something. You know what I'm saying? Like you couldn't really hear the whole conversation. It sounded like the boy wanted something, and the man was like, no, or whatever. And the boy started fussing and acting out. And the boy told him, if you don't stop crying, I'm gonna give you something to cry about, basically. And the girl was like in like hysterical, fussing at him. Like, you're that boy, and who does that? Like, you telling this man not to tell this boy not to cry in public over not getting something that you want? That is like something that you have to live. You have to understand when you when you grow up. Like I mean, you know what I'm saying? You can't cry over everything you don't get. What? the-
The rules are changing. I've I've been experiencing this myself as far as the different. I'm a manager, and there's a difference in how people react and look at things now. I'm from a school, like a story I tell people. You know what I'm saying? My interview orientation, whatever you want to call it, the first day I worked in Mr. Troy's garage. This man 6'6", pure fucking man. You know what I mean? Stood over me and told me, uh, my whole orientation with you, James, is that I would only tell you once, and that was the beginning and the end. Fast forward to now, when the situation happens, like now, I have to coach them, give them inspiration, tell them they're doing a good job. Really, identify things that they're doing on a daily basis to encourage them on. But the old school concept of just, what I'm saying, here go to work, let's go get it done, that's not acceptable no more. And that's all an evolution on how a lot of things are looked at. Like I've said, things, something's happened before to get things to where they're at now. Now, is this to say this is a good thing? I'm sure there's those who say that, them who came up in my day were probably mentally abused because of the way we was treated. I mean, we was always told straightforward, what it is, and uh, the encouragement was, if I ain't talking to you, you must be doing a good job. That was encouragement.
I'm glad that you hit on that at the end there with about the different generations grow up, and you know because that's the thing is that the generation is going to grow, and what we're looking at is going to grow. You know, just like we did because I talked about it before, and I'll talk about it again, I'm sure, but I remember what like some of the elders and stuff, or people who are older than I was saying about us in the 90s. It was like, man, when this generation grow up, we talk, man, we got a whole generation here that was like that's selling crack, smoking crack, being raised by crackheads, just all of that, and it's like, man, they gonna grow up, man. Imagine what, and then the kids that they're gonna have, and then this thing, and it's just like when you sit and watch it, it's like, yeah, that generation, our generation grew up and had kids. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like, and then the way that they raised their kids in some instances, like,
I mean, you already know how it been, Mumbles. I mean, hell, our generation was basically the uh, the peak of the crack epidemic. You know what I'm saying? So you figured by that time, hip hop had jumped right in big time. It started, molding the culture some more towards more on what we see it is today to some of the things that we have problems with and we've had problems with over the years. The whole persona of this image is real and people are out here trying to live it. You know, um, but yeah, I mean, we all remember NWA when
and
that
I
came in. You know what I'm saying?
just to swing it back around, can I tell you though, I fear what a generation of adults in America will look like when masculinity was stripped out of majority of their child. I fear what that type of America is going to look like. Like, I don't see nothing good coming out of that.
Can I tell you something, Mumbles? I look at it as we're evolving to something. I'm sure if you go back 50, 60, 100 years, the things that we take accustomed to as life, there was people back in them days saying the same thing, sitting around a campfire. Man, this motherfucking world is screwed. We still got four more cuss words left, y'all. And
I believe you. However, as deep as some of those arguments may have been and stuff, you know what I'm saying? We have never dealt with a generation that I'm aware of that I can like think of on the spot right now were where we were actively like going at the fabric of society, the fabric
um,
of
I
man.
su-
I mean, hold on.
I
Let me
suggest you read up on the 1920s, sir.
when I say when I and I mean the actual fabric of humanity. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I don't care how many times they try to spin it. When it comes to humanity, we only got men and women. Period. And right now, we are dealing with a generation who wants to completely destroy that
Can I tell you
concept.
something? Do you remember years ago we used to have these talks, and I used to tell you that the end result is to create a third sex.
No, I remember when I had that conversation with you, and you keep on trying to flip it. But okay, I'm listening. What's your point?
My point is that the evolution is here. They would think about it. I mean, like I said, if you look at the 20s, that was a drastic change. Um, the 50s, the 60s. My point
Right.
is that
You're,
wait a
you're
minute,
talking
wait a
about.
minute, wait a minute,
Hold on,
wait a
hold on,
minute, wait a minute, wait a
I want
minute,
to
wait a
stay in the
minute.
conversation with you, so I want to make sure I'm hearing you right. You're talking about more or less the definitions as far as the roles of men and women
No, I'm not. I'm talking
that were
about if we. I'm no, I'm not. I'm talking no. I'm
I'm
what I'm
listening.
saying is what I'm saying is if we didn't have those situations, because the bar was here, each situation
Which
brought the
situation are
bar.
you talking about?
Hey, the roaring 20s when saying when women became free, wearing the little skirts, fucking more. Birth
Again,
control
that's
came
what I
about.
just
Wait a minute,
asked you.
hold on. You got to look at the progression that's happened to where we're at today. And
Okay,
what
I'm
I'm
with you.
saying, what I'm saying is this: you've lost. The progression is here. Figure out a way to live with it.
Like I said, I get what you're saying because you are talking about more so along the lines of the changes that happen over the generations as far as the roles between men and women. That's fine and dandy. We people can argue them roles. Look, I'm not one who say that women can't do certain jobs or men can't do certain things because they're not. I'm not one of those. Men can't can't be in the dance and ballet because I'm not one of those. Or women can't be construction workers. No, look, that's job duties and crafts and whatnot. Every individual has their own contribution to society or whatever. That's fine and dandy. I'm talking about the here and now, 2023. We are watching the unfabric of society itself. When you have grown men running around talking about men can get pregnant, men can have babies.
Where you see this at?
What you mean? That's like the number. That's like the number one of the number one arguments of the woke. What are you talking about? Men can have babies because they consider women who want to be men, so men can have babies. They
I,
they,
I
they
never
they
heard of
have
that.
an explanation behind it because they're talking about trans. Saying this and that. And if you don't agree that men can have babies, then you must be a transphobe. No, men cannot have babies. That don't make me nothing. It makes me sane. It makes me based in reality.
Okay, so this is where you're ready. You're willing to draw your line.
Which line are we talking about? Because I got several lines, and a few of them's been drawn a long time ago.
You just made mention of all the things that you said that you were talking about the ballet and other things that are kind of like at one point considered traditionally women roles that are now you know more open to where everybody women. My point is that you're okay with that, right? But there's somebody out there whose line is a whole lot more stern than yours. So my point is that at what point are you and the majority of society going to draw the line?
Okay. I'm sorry. It don't take a rocket scientist to understand men don't have babies. Men
They
cannot
do.
get pregnant. Men cannot get pregnant.
If you have,
No,
if you record,
no,
no, wait a minute, wait a minute,
no.
wait a minute, wait a minute,
I don't-
wait a minute,
Listen,
stop,
you cannot
wait
you
a minute.
cannot explain the unexplainable.
Yes, I can.
No, just because you can say a woman pretending to be a man can get pregnant. Therefore, in the eyes of society who has these open gender rules, men can get pregnant in that context.
That's
But
almost the
who
that's
wants to
all
explain all of that? Who That's too much. Listen,
that's
men
almost the rules.
don't get pregnant. It's that simple. It's
That's
that simple.
almost that's
It's that
almost
simple.
the
If
that's
you
almost the
if I can guarantee you, and I can guarantee you in this world today, if you gave birth to a human being, you were born a woman.